Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. This is part of our ELD Legacy Open series that took place April 13th. Our next one's coming up May 11th, and they have been great so far. 33 players at this one, 100% prize payout. The champion gets the leather playmat that is hidden under Rich's playmat on the left-hand side. That is Dr. Rich Shea, the Atog Lord himself, playing Esper Stoneblade with some spicy vintage quality cards in there, including Kemble. And Pyle Souza is rocking some blue-white Stoneblade, a bit of a take on Miracles. Stoneforge Mystic, a little bit more kick to the list, perhaps a little bit better versus early creature decks, and also able to close things out a lot faster. We'll see how these goes. Pair of Ponders, some sculpting going on. Every decision in the early game, very important for these type of decks. Really want to continue to build your mana base and find the proper mix of threats and solutions. Umezawa's Jite here for Pyle. Very, very interesting. Would have expected a sort of Fire and Ice or a Batterskull both before a Jite. Let's see what this looks like. Swords to Plowshares, clearing out Dark Confidant. So not looking to get any card advantage on the other side. Not letting Dark Confidant stick around for a single turn. And Thoughtseize, that's going to prompt an activation of Stoneforge Mystic, putting in Umezawa's Jite. And gonna see a hand with Snapcaster, Stoneforge, Back to Basics, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. All very powerful cards here. Jace, the one that Rich is most concerned with. That means Stoneforge coming around the second time may find a different piece of equipment here. And Aether Vial for Esper Stoneblade. Very interesting card here. Equipping, sending, couple of counters added. And Jit gonna potentially keep many creatures from being an issue on the other side. Life totals here. Just players being reminded to use the pen and paper as well as the counter for everyone here at home. Or on the go, I suppose, if you're watching on your phone. And there's the Batterskull. So Umezawa's jitters, whatever you want to call it, going to prevent any small creatures on the other side here. Batterskull getting Thoughtseized feels pretty bad. And let's see what Esper Stoneblade has. Council's Judgment. And that is just going to get rid of Umezawa's Jite and gain Kyle a little bit of life. Back to Basics. Going to keep that Underground Sea tapped down. But it is Squire beatdown at this point. Gotta feel like getting Batterskull first would have been way more preferable at this point. Baleful Strix, Viled in, drawing a card, taking down a Squire. Vile may prove to be a pretty solid answer to this Back to Basics which is mana base restricted, but kind of functioning just fine thanks to this Vial, tapping for 2 mana at a time. Here's a Brainstorm, flashback off of Snapcaster. Will we see a Vialed in Stoneforge during the upkeep to shuffle? A fetch from Stoneblade, or blue-white Stoneblade. Really a ton of basic lands in there. Kind of a mana base looking similar to Miracles. And this time we've got Snapcaster for Ponder. Looking to get some value and keep some pressure. Just 12 life left. May be able to run things through with just a few small bodies. If you can hold the fort down. And let's see. Snapcasters trading. And a Brainstorm. Christopher Rush signed. Beautiful. And yeah, another Baleful Strix, and this is going to get real muddy real fast here. So Dark Confidant coming in, revealing Esper Stoneblade starting to pull away here. Dark Confidant potentially a huge problem, outdrawing. Two to 1 is definitely going to add up. This Baleful Strix can come in. Ambush block again. And now it's going to be a question of, ooh, Supreme Verdict, that's an answer. Fair enough. This is just a haymaker situation, back and forth. Brainstorm again from Stoneblade. Who's going to be able to get something to stick? The life total is not hugely relevant. It's typically just going to be whoever actually stabilizes. And here we go, True Name. This is actually the type of card that can prove my statement very wrong. Rich's True Name no longer an answer for this True Name, as he does have the lower life total. Oh, and he has one on his own, so let's see who can get more True Names, perhaps. Sending. Aether Vial coming down. That Vial has done a ton of work here. Very relevant to that Vial is the card advantage that has been generating. True Name coming through. Just a couple of more turns. And True Name will have this wrapped up. I believe these life totals are starting to fall behind. Another Vial. And now Vial not looking so amazing. Jace the Mind Sculptor. And continuing to try and build card advantage here. Interesting decision. Fate Sealing may have also been totally fine here. And that's going to do it. Just, I believe, one more swing from True Name will wrap that up. And Rich scooping up game number 1 here. Taking a look at his sideboarding notes. I believe this is a pretty new list. I'm not sure if he's been streaming this at all. It's got some spiciness in here. The top 8, I will actually get those online somewhere, perhaps once I launch the ELD's Brainstorm, I'm sorry, ELD's Time Vault Games website, which is in the works right now. Get that done. And that'll be a good place to keep those deck lists. But yeah, he's got some spiciness in there. Those Aether Vials at the end of the game, I don't know, it's a really interesting card. Kind of felt awful to have 3 cards tied up as Aether Vials when they could have been something else, but on the other hand, man, they seem to do an awful lot of work. I'm not sure how many times those really allowed for extra use. It looked like very often when he was tapping it, he had the mana to cast the cards anyways. So this will be interesting to re-watch now that I've kind of seen what he was looking to do. Aether Vial, very very powerful card, but doesn't actually do anything on its own. It is kind of a combo. And there we go, turn 1 Vial, looking to make his guys uncounterable all game long. Will he get mana advantage out of it this game? And we got a Ponder. And not a greedy man, gonna go ahead and keep there. And turn 2 Stoneforge getting spell snared. Firefight early. Brainstorm in this deck with plenty of 2-drops. And another Vial. I will say Vial feels like it would do great with card advantage. If you've got a Dark Confidant rocking, drawing 2 cards a turn, Vial could definitely let you keep up with playing out your threats and keeping up counter magic. But if you've got Vials ready to go and you're not able to put things in off of them, does feel like they would have been better off as something else. And here we go, Snapcaster for Brainstorm, and that looks great. We see a Stoneforge Mystic, so this is pretty much how I would imagine Rich drew it up. Just continual cantripping and moving the ball forward. Rich wanting that top card. He could have Vialed during his upkeep to get a shuffle effect. Caracas. And here's a Baleful Strix being cast. That gets spell snared. It's an interesting decision. Brainstorm. Really not sure why that wouldn't be a better job for Vial. Guaranteeing the card resolving and getting the cantrip off of it. End of turn. Activate. Oh, and here we go. Activate and no thank you, I won't put anything in. Containment Priest. And perhaps now this is what we're seeing from Rich. Perhaps he knew exactly what was going on and needed to get that spell snare out of hand. Umezawa's Jite getting in there, resolving in a Stoneforge Mystic. Adding bodies. Gonna look to equip and clear this Containment Priest out of here. A 3 mana, ooh, and Council's Judgment. That card's done a lot of work this match. At 3 mana, it is not quite Vindicate in terms of getting rid of lands, but I mean, everything else, it does a fantastic job. Sword of Fire and Ice now looks to be a huge problem. Umezawa's Jite, that was going to be an issue, but it looks like instead Sword of Fire and Ice threatening to completely take over this game. And Supreme Verdict, end of turn, putting in Stoneforge Mystic, and a little bit of a decision here in terms of equipping and attacking or just using Stoneforge to put in Batterskull. Let's see what direction Rich goes in. Arguments for both lines. And he is going to go with the equip. That would be my choice as well. Get the cards now. This can be a very grindy matchup. You might not even need the Batter Skull anyways. You just need a couple of swings here with this Stoneforge, which has Pro Blue anyways. Ooh, and Council's Judgment. That clears that Sword of Fire and Ice. Batter Skull, the next card that's going to need to be handled here. Jace, the Mind Sculptor. He brainstorms. He can unsummon later. So he can handle the Germ. By bouncing the Germ, it's that Stoneforge that's going to need to be taken care of. Let's see how this goes. Batter Skull getting put in. That Germ is a 4/4 Vigilance lifelink right now. And he can Batter Skull can return to hand and be replayed for a super grindy game. Looks like Snapcaster likely gonna throw himself in front of Batter Skull if he's allowed to live that long. Is this an opposing Jace? No, it's a Palace Jailer. Another card from Death and Taxes here in this interesting hybrid that Rich has built. Looks like Palace Jailer, if it resolves, is going to get rid of that Snapcaster. He's going to become the Monarch. And Jace is about to get cleared away. I think this game is pretty much a wrap. Let's see what's possible. A Swords to Plowshares would be absolutely incredible right now if that was able to... Oh, actually, no, never mind. It's when you become the Monarch. So even Swords wouldn't get the Snapcaster back right away. So it's going to be very difficult for Kyle to become the Monarch here. We've got a Containment Priest and a Zealous Persecution. And that is going to clear away the Containment Priest. Batterskull went face, not toward Jace. One more Brainstorm. Looking for one more Supreme Verdict or a Snapcaster for Supreme Verdict. Stoneforge triggers. That gets a Batterskull. And a Disenchant on the opposing Batterskull. But the Atog Lord still... Ooh, Snapcaster, no value. What a crazy game here. So Snapcaster just to block the Palace Jailer. Stoneforge Mystic. And Kyle opting to Brainstorm. He also had the option of bouncing Stoneforge, attacking, and becoming the Monarch himself. Of course, those Aether Vials could royally mess up that plan, but you were at 1 life. And he would also need a creature to block the Stoneforge on the crack back. But if he cannot become the Monarch, getting outdrawn 2-1 is going to be a problem. Mazau's Jite, equip, and send. True Name Nemesis, and that should be a wrap. Game 2 going to Esper. We were off to Game 3 in a really action-packed matchup, much more so than I would expect from 2 Stoneblade decks. I mean, that was hugely swingy, back and forth, finally finishing out with that True Name Nemesis off of Aether Vial and taking care of that last point of life. Not a lot could be done about that. Yeah, Aether Vial's, it's a really interesting card so far. Very, very interesting, giving quasi-haste to the creatures, cheating on mana, giving things flash, making them uncounterable. I mean, the card's been interesting. I think the I think the jury's still out on it, but let me know what you think in the comments. I think it's a really interesting card. My mind's certainly not made up, but let me know what you think. Is this Aether Vial tech uh, something worth testing, or do you think it's a little too cute? Any cards that we haven't seen that you think would go along well with it? A mana base is being built here, Flooded Strands. Rich going black and really weird mana base, Underground Sea and a basic Plains. That likely meaning he doesn't have quite the ideal setup. Swords to Plowshares, meeting that Dark Confidant pile, really stopping any card advantage on the other side of the table very effectively so far. Swords has been great for that. And Stoneforge Mystic. And there's a very real threat there with Sword of Fire and Ice. Probably my go-to in these situations. Batterskull sometimes will beat that out, but man, outdrawing 2-1 is very strong in these type of matchups. And Pro Blue also makes it unblockable. Oh, and Disenchant for that Sword of Fire and Ice. So a lot of mana and time spent there. Using Stoneforge to put in the Sword of Fire and Ice, going to equip it, and then it gets disenchanted. I mean, that is a ton of mana, and wheels spinning on the other side of the table. And now it looks like Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that is sticking. So a Brainstorm happening. Left unchecked, this is going to be a huge problem. Pretty much no matter what you're doing with Jace, it's going to win the game. You practically pick the modes at random. Council's Judgment, so that bleeding has stopped, and a Karakas. Germ Token comes in off of Batterskull. Aether Vial added on the side of Esper Stoneblade, though he does have plenty of mana. And 4 damage coming in for the Batterskull. Life totals essentially switching places. Ponder here. And then another Stoneforge grabbing Batterskull. Both players moving at a really excellent pace here, making sure that they have enough time in the match. Even with these, 3 really back and forth epic games, still finding the way to get the job done and move the game forward. We've got Batterskull being put in, Snapcaster from Blue-White Stoneblade to Flashback Disenchant, and now a Thoughtseize showing a handful of answers. And Council's Judgment now. Flashback, getting rid of the Batterskull, no mana to return it, so it is out of there. And we've got just really a train wreck game here. Probably worth a supreme verdict. Such a powerful card. And Kemble. And there's one of those vintage quality cards. I did not follow what happened there. Saw a Council's Judgment, but we've got a Kemble in play. True Name Nemesis now. Kemble's Life swing definitely threatens to be an issue, and now we've got Zealous Persecution, a great way to take down True Name Nemesis and add some extra damage. Stoneforge Mystic for Umezawa's Jite. This could stabilize. Casting it. And is he going to use the mana now to equip? Might as well make the best use of the mana. Just 2 cards left in hand, but oh, one of them is a Snapcaster. That's going to be very good here. Snapcaster, Brainstorm, continuing to keep the pressure on. Looks like there's already an answer in hand. Otherwise, Snapcaster would have been able to flash back an answer like Council's Judgment. And there's the Palace Jailer. And Rich plans on being the Monarch for the rest of this game, and that looks very likely. True Name Nemesis adding on 1 or 2 more turns here, and that's going to do it. Ooh. Supreme Verdict, but it looks perhaps Kyle was actually at 2 life there. That is gonna do. So I think Kyle was actually at 2 life when he played that Supreme Verdict, and that is a wrap. So Kemble really proving to be a very interesting addition to Legacy. Let me know what you think about him in the comments.